Summer by the pool. Get out your bathing suits. Now if you can sew, you can make a skirt sarong. They're so easy. I'll show you how. So many summers ago, I used to have classes on Saturdays just for projects. And I'd have these students come out of beginner sewing and they wanted to do another project, like a quick project on a Saturday. And I was thinking, what is simple for them to make right after they make, a couple little projects in a skirt? And it's the summertime. I thought, what about a bathing suit, like skirt sarong? So I came up with this little simple fabric skirt that you just tie it around here. You just tie it around to the side and it goes over your bathing suit. Simple, right?
It is really quite simple, Miss O'Neill.
So we had a lot of these classes the kids made and my adults made just simple skirts like this. These have a center back seam right here. See, it's frayed right there, so you could finish that off. There's a center back seam about 1 inch, I believe, and I drafted you a pattern from small to extra large, just a 1 inch difference in the center back. Then it has darts right here, optional, and I'm going to make myself one, but I'm not going to put darts in it because I'm kind of square. But this will help kind of bring the fabric in a little more. And then it's just a tie shape right here, and you just hem the edges all down around there. So you got curves going on in there, and then a straight line, and then another sort of a curve there, and then there's a lot of pressing in this project, so that's kind of the hard part, but pressing it and tucking it down. I have a video on how to hem a skirt that actually will really help with techniques here, and I'll show you how to do it too. I'll put a card up here and it will help you kind of see the technique I do for easy hemming, because if you press stuff before you go to sew it at the machine, it really makes for a much more professional look and easier to sew. But I thought you can make this skirt real quick. I drafted you a pattern. This was the old pattern I had. It was just muslin right here, and it had some darts, and it has the shape. And there's two of them. One side is the left side and the right side. One side's a little longer than the other, and then it just ties around to the side, and you just put it over your bathing suits. Really quick and easy and fun to make. And then you can match your bathing suit colors, right? So my bathing suit the one I have this year is rusty brown and white, I think. Black and brown and white. So I want to do a black one. But if I show you on black, it's hard to see. So I'm going to make my friend one out of this fabric, fuchsia. And this is like a crepe back satin. It has a really pretty drape to it. This fabric is in a rayon challis, I believe. Rayons will shrink a lot, but if you pre-wash them, and sometimes just the weave itself shrinks because it's like if it's a rayon crepe, it's kind of a curly, they twist the yarns and then it shrinks, but you can always iron it back and kind of press it back. But let's make one of these skirts. I'll show you how. It's really simple. So I have this pattern for you. I traced the muslin pieces onto paper, and I tape them together and just trace it out. And I did different sizes. You can see the small, medium, large right here. And what I do with these is I just tape the papers right next to each other. I don't overlap them like a lot of those PDFs do. And I just trace it. And then not all of them exactly, there's like a little margin on some of them, but that's really simple. You can match them up right there. But they have a dart in here. On mine, I probably won't do a dart, but really simple. And I also have the yardage on the title page. It doesn't take a whole lot of yardage, actually. I don't have it here with me, but it's on there. But let's make one. I'll show you how. All right, I started with taping these together here. So we got 4/8 there, 2, I think it goes that way, and 1 right there. So I just have to very carefully tape these all right here. And I just tape right where I wouldn't tape right here because I'm not gonna be needing that to stick together. And you gotta really make sure these stay really right close together. Like there's all these corners here. This is actually a good place to put the tape in those corners where all the 4 corners meet up. And that meets there, and this one's a little off. I'm just gonna shape it off there. Somehow that my printer just does that. You don't know how the paper's going in, but you wanna get these corners in. Then this grain line is a shade off here. So what I would do is just get a ruler, shape that back up right there. It's just a tad off right there. Real simple. Tape this together. All right, have my fabric all anchored onto my cutting board correctly, so I get it, the grain line on that started first, and then I gotta get the grain line started here. So let's see, pick a line there. If this is lined up here, then this will line up here. I drew a line on there. I see, I think we're good right there. A bit of a crooked line, but I'll anchor that in right there. And then I'll try this side. Make sure my fabric stays there. Now, make a line here. Okay, looks good. Anchor that in. This grain line here. That'll really help this garment drape really well once you get it all on the grain line. Okay, now I gotta pin this. It's hard to go through the paper, but you don't want to put your hands under the paper. I'm gonna get just the pins down like this. Lots of pins here. That's a double paper, so I'm gonna just get off this way. And then I'll start taking out my anchor pins here and get this all pinned around. Could even trace it. I'm going to put an extra pin here because this is where I'm going to mark the dart. Right there. Take the anchor pins out of the grain line and pin this down. You can trace this off onto newsprint, this pattern. The newsprint's a lot easier to pin through, or there's that pattern paper with the graph. If you trace it onto pattern paper, like the Pellon type, it's a lot easier to pin. Because I don't like all these paper things, but it's what I have right now. So, okay, I think I'm going to use pinking shears to cut this out because this fabric frays a lot, and it also, pinking shears also makes it a lot harder to cut. So, I have to do long strokes with these. I have a hard fabric to cut, a paper pattern, and pinking shears. Added all the difficult elements for myself. Could use a rotary cutter, but I don't use them because I like to anchor my pins into cardboard. I'm trying not to pick up this fabric so I don't move this out of here. I want it to stay straight. I should put some weights on here. The curves are hard. The good thing is this pattern doesn't have to match up with anything, so if it does get a little bit crooked, you can even it out. All right, have them both cut out, and the first thing I need to do is mark the darts. I'm going to put pins in the little holes, and then I like to put them kind of right here too, so it helps me match them up. And then I'm going to make a little nip right at the dart leg here. I'll unpin some more of all of these right here, and then I lift this up and mark it on the wrong side right there. Just do a little right where that pin is in the board. Another reason I like these boards here. And this last one here, the pin is right there. Mark a little dot there. So now I have these little marks on this side, and then I can get the ruler out and find the little clip right there, and you can make marks right where your darts are. Right there. Connect the dots. And then there's my dart. And then I just sew the darts here. Make sure, yep, they're lined up. Like that. And of course I got to take the pattern off the rest of this. But this is how you mark and sew a dart really well. And then you make sure that they're lined up there. That's where my dart is, so I pre-pin it. And then take out the whole pattern. I mean, actually, I usually take the whole pattern off and then do that, but I just did it that way. I have to change things up. All right, so that's the right side of the pattern, right there. So just sew the darts, and then I'm gonna get the left side here. Okay, if you don't know how to do darts, I have a video on sewing darts. Gives a little more explanation of it, but these are pretty simple. All right, I'm gonna sew these, and then I can sew. Then actually, while I'm there, I'm going to sew the center back seams together. So we have right sides together. Right here is that long line here, and this was a 1-inch seam allowance, so I'm going to pin these raw edges even, and so a 1-inch seam allowance, and then finish the edge off here. I'll probably turn it this way and do a little zigzag right there so it has a nice finishing on the inside. Or if you have an overlocker, you can just overlock the edges. Okay, so 1-inch seam allowance right here, sew the darts, and then all that's left to do is to hem the whole thing, and then it's done. It's that simple.
The whole thing is really quite simple, isn't it?
Well, I was gonna go to the machine and sew all this, but I have a dilemma. I own a sewing school, and I teach a lot of kids to sew, and one of their favorite colors is fuchsia. This is all the thread I have left. Oh man, I've been digging through my threads. I found this red. I think it actually might work in here. It's my favorite thread, Maliniki. They don't make anymore, and I still have a stash. But I think that might work in there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do a test run because I have to hem this whole thing. So the thread's really gonna show. So I could do a contrast thread, but I'm thinking that one might actually work. And sometimes when you put a thread through it, it has like, it'll change, it doesn't change colors, but it has like a lighter or darker shade. So I'm gonna test it first, or have to go to the fabric store and buy some more fuchsia, because that's the perfect match, right? Bummer, I've been looking everywhere for their thread. All right, I'm gonna sew this part here, and then I'm gonna come in tomorrow and finish up the hemming. All right, I have to sew the center back seam right here. It's a 1-inch seam here. Get it started. Okay, now I gotta sew the darts. These right here. Make sure those are lined up. The reverse. Right out the end. Barely, barely, barely out the end. There we go. That up. This little dart. Looks like that. Try not to get a pucker right here. All right, now time to press. I gotta make sure I have a lot of water in my iron, because I'll just be steaming this. Glides a lot better, this kind of fabric. All right, so now I gotta press all this open, press the darts towards the center back. Let that cool. Should be really flat on that side, right there. Okay, now I need to trim all this, and then what I'm gonna be doing is just doing my 50-50 tuck right here. And just have to press this down. This fabric's creasing really well. Just like let it cool there. And what I should do is just do the top part first, sew it, and then come and do the other part. Because sometimes you have to do too much all at once. It's kind of nuts. Also, I'd like to trim out these, but actually before I do all this, I need to tuck this down and give it a finish. I think I'll trim all this out right here. I even the dart. I'm gonna give it a little bit of trim so that when I go to hem it, it isn't so bulky. So when you go like this, it's not so bulky. I should actually really press this down because I put it 3/4, but now that the crease is there, I'm just gonna do that real tiny. I didn't get to the store to get the right color thread either, so I'm just gonna use that red. Isn't that cool? So I'm just gonna go and stitch this first, then I'm gonna come back and then tackle all this part here. All right, so I have the top part pressed over, and I'm just gonna do my 50-50 hem. So this part here, just tuck it to meet the crease right here. It's very small. This is where you can burn your fingers pretty easily. Oh boy. Okay, this is small. You do a 3/4 inch hem or so, like I suggested, it's a little bit easier to do. Okay, so that, let it cool, it'll stay there. Tuck it under. I find a lot of my students they don't want to take the time to press things, and they just take it to the sewing machine and then they try to roll it under, and that's where they lose control. And then it gets all wobbly. The seam gets all curly and pulled, and it looks really bad. So if you take the time to press this first, then it comes out really nice. All right, I'll finish all this up, and then I'm gonna go and sew this whole part here. All right, I put a little squiggle stitch on there. It looks really good. It turned out nice. Wow, so now I got the top part done here. This looks great. Now I just need to do the hem part. It's pretty simple. Once this is pressed, it even looks better. It looks so great. This swiggle line looks really pretty, and bonus, it kind of keeps this all down like that. It's a nice stitch. Number 22 on my little brother machine. All right, now for the rest of all this. It's going to be a doozy. First I need to trim off of these, figure out how to get this here. So what I'll do is just start here, and then I'll have to tuck it or something. I don't know. I'll have to do some kind of tuck under there. I think I'll tuck it first. Cool. And tuck this over. And somehow get that all. That's the hard part on this. Okay, I'm going to give this a bigger hem. Although on here I have a little bit of a curve here. I think right here, if I put some clips, just about 1/4 inch, 3/8 right here to help that bend. Right there. Just in that curve part. Then I can see it helps it bend right there. See it's opening. I have to go. Don't want to go too deep because then it will cause a fray. So let it cool. Just do these in sections like that. And come around, and this part is the opposite. It's bigger. This is where you can do that ease stitch right here, and it will curve it really well. I think I might do that. Oh, I probably should go do that first. So ease stitch, what I'm going to do is, I have a video called how to do an ease stitch, and what you do is you crunch up the fabric like this, and then it curls it right here. So I'm going to go and try that. So I thought I would show you what an ease stitch looks like on a curve on this fabric, and I used a contrast thread here to show you. And what we're going to do is just give this curve a little bit of a curve over using an ease stitch. The hem is about 3/4 of an inch, so you want to sew within that and not go outside of the 3/4. So I'm going to do around a 1/2 inch or so here. So I'm going to start a little bit past, or a little bit outside of the curve, and then basically I put my finger behind this presser foot and I push on the presser foot, and this fabric will crunch up. So that I'm pushing the fabric right here, but I have to use my other hand because I'm right-handed. And you also want to make sure that you don't get hit by the screw right there. So I'm going to come out here, gonna get it lined up, just push this right here, get it started, and then when I get closer to the curve, I'm gonna start pushing on it more and just letting it resist, and then the fabric scrunches up on itself into the curve, and then go all the way around. Sometimes you have to take a break and then you push some more on it. Like that. Okay. You can see how some fabrics will really gather a lot and some won't. This one just kind of average here. So basically you have a little curve right there, and then it will curl on there, making it easy to press. So you just get a mark right here. You could pre-mark the hem, like if I had the 3/4 right here, then you press that, and then you can curl under the piece right there. So that's how you do an E-stitch around a curve. All right, did the E-stitch, just a little puckery seam right here so that it helps cup this over. So I'm gonna go around it. I do it about 1/2 inch down, and then, let me see, I have to do this other one. The other one puckered up a little bit better. Sometimes, depends on the fabric. Some fabrics don't pucker very well at all, but it's naturally going in like this. And I can press it, come in here. Get this under here. Press that. I'll try to stay here like that. It's a good way to tackle a curve. There we go, like that. Got a little off there. Get that right there. And then I'll tuck, when I go back around, I'll tuck all this under like that. And it tucks under like this. And the stitch is it's like now a stay stitch in there too. And then it just tucks under really good. That. Get in like that. Tuck it under. Yeah, looking good. Okay, that's just the curved part. Looks good. There we go. Okay, there's my curve. Ooh, boy. Okay, now into the straight. This will be a little easier. All right, I'm gonna finish this up, and I'm gonna sew it all together. All right, this is all stitched. One final press. It's ready to wear. This came out really nice. I love that stitch. Wow. Holds the fold down, and it looks nice. Ah! Ta-da! Here's the skirt sarong. Looks great, nice and flat in the back. This dress form's a little tiny, so I think it'll go wide, a little bit wider there. Then it just drapes in the front right here. You just tie it like that. Little ties there, so cute. And then it's perfect for over a bathing suit. Perfect skirt for the pool or the lake. So tomorrow I'm going to a party on the lake. I'm going to see what friend of mine has a fuchsia color print in their skirt, and then that's their skirt. I hope you enjoyed this video and you make a sarong skirt. Download the pattern. I have the link below. Quick and easy to make. Literally, I'd give yourself 2 hours to do it. It took a yard of fabric. Quick and easy. Good to do a cotton fabric first, or a rayon, something that's easy to mold with the iron, because that's most of this whole skirt is the whole shape right there. So give it a shot. It's easy to make, and hope you look glamorous at the pool. See ya in the next video.